we have one lead witness in opposition, Jonathan Zackerson from Reopen California Schools. He's on the phone line. And Jonathan, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Jonathan Zackerson, founder of Reopen California Schools. Over the past 2 years, we have seen what has worked and what has not worked at keeping our schools open, each with their own cost. One of these efforts has been testing programs, but it has been shown their costs are simply not worth it, and the amount of money spent on them could be much better used in other areas to make up for massive learning loss. This bill would require each school district to have an indefinite testing program in line with guidance from the California Department of Public Health, a requirement that even CDPH doesn't place on school districts. The reason CDPH doesn't require their own testing guidance to be followed is because if all schools followed it as written today, it would require schools test approximately half the student population regularly at a cost of about $2.4 to $3 billion annually for the tests alone. And as we've seen, CDPH frequently updates their school guidance. These changes could require schools ramp up testing without any notice and at an untold cost, or they could allow schools to reduce testing, but schools would have already incurred the cost and not easily be able to ramp down. Either way, both scenarios are costly to school districts, as uncertainty from some state mandates often are. I think a good example of a testing program not to follow is LAUSD's, which is the direction the bill's author would like to take the rest of California. LAUSD tests every student and staff weekly. Their initial testing program budget was $150 million. Now that the school year is almost over, it is estimated to cost $530 million, nearly 4 times the initial budget. If their same program was applied statewide, it would easily top $8 billion. This is well above the $1.5 billion the bill's author is asking for. The bill's author also touts a testing study conducted in early 2021 of over 200 schools, which was similar to what LAUSD testing plan is. In these programs, it costs over $12,000 to identify a single positive test, most of which could have easily been identified through much less costly measures. These are just the cost of the tests alone. The bill would also require each of California's 1,000 school districts hire a minimum of 1 to 2 additional staff, but this likely would be exceeded to keep up with the CDPH's testing demands. On top of this, the bill analysis estimates that a one-time cost to California school districts of over $150 million. Lastly, this bill would have a negative impact on attendance, thus impacting ADA funding. Going back to LAUSD, their weekly testing and quarantine program led to them having one of the worst chronic absenteeism rates in California, with almost half of all students being chronically absent this school year, which is about double the state's average. The low-end estimate of that loss in ADA funding to LAUSD is $80 million. With all of this testing cost, there was no improved public health outcomes, only worse financial outcomes, and a negative impact to students' education. I asked the Appropriations Committee to vote no on SB 1479, a bill that would implement a costly, indefinite state-mandated program and instead reserve the funding for educational programs that will actually benefit California students. Thank you.
Thank you. 2 minutes and 51 seconds.